For Wales women, their European Championships in Switzerland perhaps didn't go quite to plan. It was, of course, their first major tournament as a side, and yet, of course, they ended up going home with nothing in the end, especially in their final game, losing to England by 6-1 in what was a tough pill to swallow for them. But how do they assess this experience? Is it positive? Because, of course, they've been to their first major tournament now and they've got that experience against some elite sides such as France, the Netherlands and England. Or is it a case of actually they should be quite disappointed because as much as it's their first experience, they wanted to go there and compete and show what they were about and show that they perhaps could be even taken as a dark horse, but they haven't done that at all. In fact, if anything, they've been battered a little bit in some of the games. So how do Wales women view this? Do they view it as a good learning experience, which it may be even if both parts are true, but is it something of a disappointment, and do changes need to be made, and are they lacking some quality? And if they are, how do they find that, or how do they nurture and develop that? So let's go now to our Wales sport correspondent, Charles Haig-Jones. Charles, as mentioned there, how do Wales women view this? How will the higher-ups view this at the Welsh FA as well? Will they see this as just perhaps, it's their first major tournament, we'll cut them a little bit of slack and we'll say, look, it wasn't too embarrassing in the sense that, yes, we've been beaten quite heavily in some games, but actually we knew that perhaps that this was coming and overall it is a learning curve and we'll get better from this experience? Or do they think, actually, we need to address some real issues here? Yes, we've got there, but that we shouldn't just be content with getting there. We should actually want more. What are your views?
Yeah, obviously it's a real strange mixed emotions sort of situation for Wales women. Obviously qualifying to Euro 2025, their first major tournament, as you say, was incredible. You have to remember that, and this is Wales fans will never forget. And firstly, one thing that they have to really take huge credit for was the support. It was unbelievable. Throughout the entire tournament, whether they were losing, whether they had huge pressure on them, it was incredible. 4,000 or so stayed after the first game, after the loss against the Netherlands. They stayed for X amount of minutes after the full-time whistle and really showed their support for Wales women. And that was a massive, massive step in the right direction, in my opinion. Obviously, incredibly tough group, on the pitch. Incredibly tough group. France, England, Netherlands have all been semi-finals, if not better, of World Cups, of Euros. And clearly, I think the overriding factor of this entire tournament, this entire experience for Wales as a women's side, was just showing the golfing class in terms of the opportunities that the girls are afforded and the history behind it. There's they are so further behind than these groups, especially England, and it showed in that 6-1 loss on the final game, which obviously proved to be the final game in their campaign. Now, a few things you have to say that there was highlights in adversity. Jess Fishlock scored Wales' first ever goal in a major tournament. She's 38. 38 years of age is incredible. That and widespread celebration, that was a massive moment for Wales, for the nation, something they'll never forget. And the goal sort of signal not just a personal milestone, because she is obviously the highest appearance and goal maker, but symbolised the team's growth and ambition at the highest level, and that was just an incredible moment for Wales women. And an on-field performance, obviously they suffered massively, conceded 13 goals, real disappointing really in the end, but Rhian Wilkinson points towards learning curve. She really said, made a plea. She sort of came out and pleaded that they need to have better infrastructure, better support for women's football in Wales. And she sort of left that in press conference feeling really driven. You thought, she's maybe onto something here and really wants to make a difference in the country she manages in. But the overriding factor for this Wales women group is that it's going to be a really positive future for them, and they can hopefully make the right steps towards getting the right facilities, the right pathways into grassroots football for these girls, and come back even stronger.